Hello and welcome everyone. This is week 2 of the Collegiate Chess League Spring 2026 season, and we've got two exciting matches to share with you all today in Division 1. First and foremost, we've got the defending champions, St. Louis University, up against last season's challengers, the second place team, University of Texas at Dallas. So we have a repeat of last year's finals. And for those of you that don't remember, last season it was a nail biter. It was 8.5 to 7.5, as close as it gets. And here today we have that match. So we'll see if UT Dallas can maybe bring it back and get some sweet revenge. So I already have the first game starting. Let's dive right in and check it out. Here we've got St. Louis's Aryan Chopra up against Gustav Chatterjee. So these are both grandmasters here in the Collegiate Chess League, competing at the highest level of college chess. And yes, shout out to physics. I did shave today. Not that that's important or relevant, but yeah, you got to look somewhat presentable when you're commentating, or at least that's how I'm trying to behave, at least. But yeah, and shout out to ChessCom community chat, which is also live. I have to see if I can figure out how to add their chat. But yeah, shout out to Terrific Teddy tuning in. Good to see everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful Saturday. I know the main chess channel is also live, covering under 13. So that's some exciting chess being played. And it's also about 30 minutes from the start of the Olympic bronze medal match for men's hockey between Slovakia and Finland, if anyone else is a hockey fan. But yeah, lots of things happening this Saturday. So I'm excited to be here watching some college chess, of course. Here we see a bishop trade being offered and not accepted right now. White might take and invite the knight to retake. Or white could force the issue and play h3. Okay, so they decide to trade there. Hello, Dota Chess. Good to see you. We've got some other games going on. Let me tune in for Victor Gazik. Victor, I believe, was formerly at Texas. I believe it was with UTRGV, though, not with UT Dallas, but a transfer student. And it looks like it is black to move. The knight getting pinned by the bishop. Still in the opening here. The threat is rook takes on e4, by the way. This bishop is not protected anymore because of this pin. So we could see the bishop trade for the knight. I doubt it. Probably the bishop's going to come back. We'll see what Samant does here. The host command needs to get updated. I don't know how to do that. Sorry, Terrific Teddy, but I believe the stream title should be pointing to my channel. I wonder if I can give myself a shout out, maybe. Or maybe it wouldn't let me do it. Oh, I can. I'm not on my account here, so that'll work. Anyways. A spy? Maybe. Okay, I'm not seeing any moves here. This is a long think from Samant. 2.5 minutes compared to 4.5. That's a 2-minute advantage for the St. Louis player. Look at the rating, 3,100 versus Samant, 2,999, discount 3K. So the bishop does move, but it tucks back to g6, and now we see d5. This pawn cannot be captured by either of these pieces. Both are being pinned right now. So white is feeling pretty good. The threat here is to take a pawn twice. Winning a pawn, putting the king in check. And it looks like black says you're going to have to go ahead and just take the pawn if you wish. Because I need to focus on developing and castling. This piece blocks both pins. So yeah, white can win a pawn here, but black can now castle, which they do. So this does give up a pawn. We can take with check. There's 3 different ways to take back. Probably wouldn't take with the king, though. Probably with the rook, if I had to guess. This knight, not doing so great on the edge of the board. But I think, let's see, white, they might not even take. They might just remain here on e6. They might want to do something about some of these other pieces, right? This knight can't go backwards. These pawns are doubled here, so instead white invests this move, hunting down the light square bishop. Black right now has the bishop pair. Funnily enough, bishop here could be a move, because even if we remove the defender of the bishop, black takes back with the tempo. Even rook takes defending. There's 2 pieces on this diagonal. So we'll see. Probably not going to save the bishop, though. Probably we will just allow this capture to be made. Takes, pawn takes. That's not going to be good. That's going to be double isolated G pawns there for black. So not expecting to capture on e6. 2-minute now advantage, more than 2 minutes. This is going to be a time scramble here. Viktor Gajic is feeling good, both on the position and in the clock. Let's check out some of these other boards. Here we've got some, looks like a new player for St. Louis, Bharat Subramaniam at 29.53, playing up against Yair Parkov. I had the pleasure of meeting and commentating with Yair at UT Dallas for last year's President's Cup. So that was a fun experience for me. It looks like we've got a bit of a space advantage here for white. Black is seemingly a bit more cramped, but Bharat is up on time, about a minute on the clock. Bishop tucking back here, maybe trying to open up this B file. Yeah, both sides still with both bishops and both rooks and a queen. It's honestly looking a little bit like a stalemate. There is that space advantage for white, but black is fighting back here. Lots of tension between these pawns. Yeah, you can't really close because you're going to lose some pawn here. So the tension will remain. We see one trade happening here. And if another trade happens, then white gets to choose which way they want to take back with. I guess with the D file, opening up the rooks. But it's not clear. It's not also opening up the bishops. Let's check in with our last board here we haven't looked at yet. This is Nicolosi, who we interviewed after the finals last season. He's playing up against Gergely Cantor. And I know Cantor played last season. Did very well. We actually had a player interview with Gergely Cantor before the season started. We see the knight retreating here. Interesting move. We are attacking this pawn, but the pawn can be pushed. Shivaita, thank you for the raid. Hello. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Welcome in, everyone. Looks like Aryan Chopra is getting a big advantage here with the black pieces. Let's take a look at what went wrong here. So the bishop and the queen piling up on f2, getting that with check. So that is a big pawn there to give up. This king is now feeling a little weak. This knight trying its best to guard these dark squares, boxing out this knight. The bishop on the long diagonal hunting down the e pawn, but that's going to get defended here. And now we see the knight rerouting, and we see, okay, bishop, if we take, pawn takes, but the queen opens up with check. And now the knight is hopping in. These pieces trying to get traded off here, and we do see the trade. And now the queen hunting, hitting the bishop, hitting the back rank, and queen sneaking its way in. This might be devastating. Where does the bishop go? You could push the pawn, and that defends the bishop. But no, the bishop decides to go active, and we do see queen here. The threat is bishop check, not queen check. That'll allow the king to squeeze its way out. Bishop check. That's going to force the king into a mating net. And Aryan Chopra is going to find this, of course. There was queen f1 block to delay the inevitable by 1, but we don't see that get played out. We do see the checkmate on the board, though. Let's check in with Yair Parkov. Less than 10 seconds on their clock. Yair's got the white pieces. The position is fairly equal, but can it last in such a time scramble? That's going to be hard. Let me give the first point to Aryan Chopra. He gives St. Louis their first lead here. Okay, we see some more trades. This might walk into a pin. Bishop takes was going to be a problem, so we see the pieces coming back, and now black is gaining grounds here. Barat from St. Louis University looking to take advantage of this. This is a pawn advantage. We could see rook check. Oh my goodness. And that's going to force the rook off the back rank. I know what you're thinking, Joe. Why not just king h2? Well, guess what? There was going to be rook h1 mate. So you had to take with the rook there, and then there'd be queen takes. So he takes right away, but then drops the queen. So Yair could not play with the time scramble. Nicolosi looks like they're doing a great job with the white pieces against Gergely Cantor. The rooks are just barely hanging on to the mate threats here. Oh, and there's a huge blunder with the queen fork. Both knights are completely hanging. So Nicolosi with white blunders, and Gergely Cantor, he's trying something here, but it's not going to work. Down a whole rook now. Queen check, but there's rook block. And now you have to retreat down a rook. So Barat gets a point for SLU, adding to their lead 2-0. And Nicolosi was very close to finding a 3-0 lead for SLU, but instead blunders both knights, and we see resignation. So Gergely Cantor answers back for UT Dallas. And here we have the last game of the round, which is coincidentally the first match of this round. This first game, less than 5 seconds for Viktor Gazik. Both players less than 20 seconds. It's an all-out time scramble. We see 3 pawns versus 2. Do we trade for this last pawn? We do. So now it's 2 versus 1, but this white king is cut off. It's a rook and pawn in game, but it's looking like it's going to be completely even. It's a draw, but white's going to try their best with the pawn advantage, but looks like black finds a way. They're going to trade off that pair of rooks, and there they have the draw. So SLU keeping their 1-point lead. Viktor Gazik and Samant getting a draw there. So very close match, just like we saw last season between these two. This is a 5+2 time control, Shrubby. So round 1, that was close. That could have been really big for SLU with Nicolosi. Let's see what he missed. This was a miss here. So in this position, the move is queen to d4, lining up the discovered double checks. Hard to play. I mean, you're leaving this rook abandoned, but you get this beautiful fork there. So instead going for this check, and now you can play queen e5, this was the blunder here because the queen now sneaks her way in with a check, this exposed king. So yeah, queen to e5. This is just guarding this diagonal. So was not meant to be, but we can't keep looking back as round 2 is starting here. We've got all 4 games started now. It's Gajic versus Gergely Cantor. Cantor, the only player from Dallas to get a win so far. Keeping his team close, within striking distance for sure. Let's take a look at let's see, we've got Aryan Chopra versus Yair Parkov. F3 here from white. It's boxing out some of these knight moves. Maybe looking at e4, that's what's played, supported by a lot of pieces here, but black has a lot of pressure there as well. We could see the rook move. Black puts the rook on the e-file, so not exactly inviting a trade here in the center. But I'm liking white's setup so far. This is a pawn duo. Still needs to find a home for this bishop. And that means this knight's got to move. But we don't want to concede control over e4, so we could see some move from white to help out. I'm not sure. Yeah, you wouldn't push, I don't think. Because your pawn looks pinned right now. So that means you also wouldn't take. So this knight maybe will move. Okay, this pawn goes. I wasn't expecting this one. In fact, the computer says it's just a blunder already, which is kind of ridiculous, actually. So why is that? The best move is d takes e4. F takes, and it's saying knight takes on d4. Wow. That's a tactic, huh? Knight takes d4 just like that is possible. Okay, we do see this first trade. Will we find knight takes d4? The point is, after pawn takes, there's queen takes, and that's a huge fork. Wow. So b4 was a blunder from Aryan Chopra, and Yair Parkov finds the tactic, double exclam brilliancy, knight sacrifice, knight taking a pawn there in the center, and the idea is that, hey, you didn't develop this bishop, so you push the f-pawn. These are some cardinal sins here out of the opening gate. So that's going to lead to a tactic here from Yair, who finds it, and that's just a free pawn. So if you take back, it's going to get worse. That's going to be an exchange as well. So weak exposed king here, and yeah, b4. That was not the move. So he needed to develop the bishop. I liked the pawn structure. It felt better to bring the bishop out maybe somewhere on this diagonal. So he pushed it this way, and now, your bishop, well, it can go to b2 now, but it's not a great spot to be. So yeah, and because this bishop hasn't developed, that rook on the corner is hanging. All right, well done here from Yer, but still a lot of chess left in this game. So we'll see if Yer's going to be able to convert. His team really needs it right now. They're down by 1, and it looks like Gergely Cantor is bringing some heat to Victor Gajic. So he won. He was the only player from Dallas to win in that first round. Let's see if he can go 2 for 2 here against SLU. So he's got the white pieces. He's up against Victor Gajic, basically a 3,100 player. Looks like he's got a lot going on here on the queen side, and we see c5 trying to make some space for the bishop, trying to contest the pawn duo. These pawns are all split up, so pawn push gets a question mark because bishop takes knight, and if bishop takes back, maintaining the pawn structure of the king side, well, that's going to be just a free pawn there. So we see pawn takes, and now white advances forward, trying to create a passed pawn. And look at this. This is going to be one happy knight here in the middle of the board, attacking everything. And this queen at some point is going to sneak her way over to the king side. So this king is exposed. Rook here, attacking a few things. We see this pawn is captured. Queen and rook open up. And there you have it. The queen comes over with a check. Eval doesn't like it so much. What was it hoping for here? It was hoping for queen a4. That's just a fork. Wait, no, queen's defending that. Hold on. What else would there have been? Oh, but if the rook moves, then we have knight takes bishop, and the queen's distracted. There were some tricks to be had. Probably queen here hits the rook, and it opens up the rook here for that fork. So queen a4 was missed by white. Still a great position. What's next? Queen h4 is a move. Going after the f pawn. This rook here is very enticing, by the way. I mean, what's wrong with rook here? Can somebody explain that one to me? What's wrong with rook to b6? Rook b6, and the best move is rook takes d5, and black plays it immediately. And that, my friends, is a sacrifice of the queen. Rook forking the queen and the bishop. You can't save both. So what does black do? Black says, I'm going to have to take this knight off the board, and I'm going to take your rook for my queen. So minor piece and a rook. That adds up to 8 points of material. Queen is worth 9. So black's saying, at least I'm going to get 8 points out of that. Wow. And look at this. Gergely Cantor says, nuh-uh, I'm going to trade on my terms. Interestingly, just trading the minor piece and the rook, white's still better here because of this connected pass pawn and just the better structure. It is opposite color bishops, but notice how this pawn capture opens up this diagonal for both the bishop, and it frees up the e4 square for the rook. What's up, Zoomja? Good to see you. But yeah, we've got some exciting chess being played here. We see the queen now just saying hello to the king on the h-file. Pawn on h7, that's the only thing standing between the king and the queen. And we see, interestingly, queen steps up. That's because the bishop is defended. Notice the queen was not only opposite the king here on h4, but also opposite of that bishop. So obviously we want to add one more attacker to that h7 square, and we can do that with the bishop getting on this diagonal. But the problem was, if we allow for f5, it's going to block the bishop, and it's going to be a discovery on the queen. So we see the queen stepping up from a dark square to a light square. This also just attacks f7, and black is saying, I got to make something happen here. So go ahead, take whichever pawn you want. You're going to help me undouble my pawns, and maybe we can get a queen trade because I can threaten checkmate too. Although actually the bishop's defending that. So bishop's going to come out here. Queen's going to come out here. This pawn's going to be dropped for sure unless you want to play something like f6, but believe me, I don't think you do. So that's going to be a very bad move. Here we see the bishop coming up, but now bishop to d3, and you've only got one move, this rook move. And now what's going to happen? We see the rook coming over, trying to say hello to the king on the back rank. Queen steps down, covering the back rank. But now there's got to be some way forward here for white. Okay, here we see rook stepping up. We could see rook here. This blocks this and saves that. If rook takes, there'd be queen takes. Okay, instead we see the bishop move. Now, this does give up the e-pawn. Oh, this is even stronger. Hits the bishop and hits the pawn. You can't save both. Viktor Gajic's going to go down here to Grigely Cantor. And Nicolosi lost to Samant Aditya. So let's update that score. Here we see the bishop who just gets dropped. Wait a second. That's wow. The king steps aside. And look at that. Double exclam. Sacking the rook, but because your king is here and the rook is here, you're exposed to the back rank. That's crazy. That rook is trying to be a pawn. But it's not. So here we have a fork. White's completely crushing here. So Bharat is going to win against Gustav Chatterjee. And let's start putting some points on. So Grigely Cantor is 2 for 2, keeping Dallas close. Samant Aditya gets a full point on the board, and that's going to give Dallas actually a lead, but Bharat is going to win their game as well. So they are also 2 for 2, and that ties us back up 3.5 to 3.5, and we've got one game left here in round 2. This is opposite color bishops, looking like a draw, and if it holds, then the teams will be all tied up. So SLU getting that initial 1-point lead after round 1. Dallas looks like they're going to be tying things up here. So yeah, this is just your usual opposite color bishops. The king's going to try to squeeze his way over here, but now the bishop will move. So the king cannot both influence the queen side and the king side because the king can only do so much. And we should see a draw offer. This is a 2-point advantage, by the way. What's funny is you could see maybe the pawn push en passant. Black could try to make a pass pawn. There's the draw. Okay, so Aryan Chopra and Yair Parkov getting draws. And that's going to tie us all up at 4 points each. All right. Halftime. Going into round 3 now. UT Dallas, by the way, they didn't play in week 1 because they had the Texas State College Championship being played. And so they're actually going to be playing 2 games back-to-back today, and we're going to be watching both. So they were originally scheduled to play against UT Rio Grande Valley, their in-state rivals, in week 1. But because both Dallas and UTRGV were competing at the Texas State College Championship. They both agreed to reschedule to today. So right now, SLU, they won their first week match 9.5 to 6.5 against Lviv State, all the way from Ukraine. And now this is actually Dallas's first match of the season. So kind of a tough pairing for your first round. I mean, this is the repeat of last season's finale. And it's close. It's as close as it gets. It's tied 4-4. If it goes to overtime, tied 8-8, we're actually going to see a tiebreaker round. We'll go into round 5, but instead of 5+2 time control, they'll be playing 3+2. So it's a little bit faster. And if it's still tied, then they switch to 1+2 until someone breaks the tie. Now, I'm not saying that will happen, but I'm saying if it's as close as this until the end of the match, then we will see overtime. So that would be very exciting. Okay, we see an early queen come out for Victor Gajic, and that's pinning the knight, and the knight was defending this e-pawn, so the knight wasn't to be trusted anymore. That's why we see pawn to f6, just defending that pawn. Hey Tharsik, how's it going? Good to see you. White brings out their bishop, ready to castle here. I couldn't tell you why. Oh, bishop here would have blocked the defense of this pawn. So that's why we see the pin isn't broken this way. Here we see the bishop coming out and immediately questioned. If the bishop comes back, we could add a question to the knight, potentially. But the bishop would be blocking the pawn. There wouldn't be any discoveries after b5, but b5 might still just be the move. We could see the queen stepping back out of the way of the a pawn, which could be interesting. Queen here, interestingly, pins this pawn to the bishop. Bishop's not defended by anything. So I'm curious what the follow-up is. After b5, knight has to find a new home. Can't really go forward. You can go to a5, perhaps, but that's also tough because you don't have any backwards moves either. So okay, b5 not played, and now a6 can be played. So I think the idea of b5 is actually to prevent a6, because if you play b5 and the knight moves and then you play a6, well, guess what? You can take now with a discovery. So that's kind of annoying. But black can play a6 now, and you're not going to worry about b5 anymore. Whoa, they go a5, which is once again allowing b5. So that's very interesting. You could tell both players were looking at that move. But Gustav decides on a5. Now b5 is played, so there's not going to be any a6 ideas anymore. So yeah, whenever the bishop moves, though, you're going to get hit with b6. So this bishop's going to be chilling out here for a while. Knight decides to go back to e7. The other knight comes out, and this king is ready to castle. White has castled. This knight, whenever we move, we open up the bishop, potentially threatening to take on h6, ruining black's kingside pawn structure. But that would also open the g file, so it could be kind of a double-edged sword there. We could see the rook taking advantage of that open g file, but you know, your king has to castle somewhere eventually, right? Otherwise, your king could be in the middle of the board like a sitting duck. So everything you do in chess has consequence. It's how you weigh those consequences. All right, let's take a look at some of the other games here. This is Victor versus Gustav. Let's check in with Dallas's top board, Grigely Cantor, up against Barat. So I haven't seen Barat play before. I think this has to be a new CCL player, which is exciting. This move attacks the pawn. It's getting a question mark, but it does come with a threat. Knight takes on d5, and that hits the queen with a threat as well. The idea is that this C pawn is pinned. And also, when this knight moves, it's a discovery attack on that C pawn. So this looks like a good move to me. Comes with a very clear threat. The computer gives it a question mark. Let's see why. The computer likes the move queen to d8, and that's putting the queen back on its starting square, but it also hits that rook. So we'll see if Barat finds this move. It seems kind of counterintuitive, kind of a backwards idea, but the computer loves it. Says it gives an advantage there for black, minus 0.33. Otherwise, anything else black does, it's advantage for white. So next best idea apparently is bishop here to f5. Okay, bishop goes to d7. This is a very natural looking move, just defending the pawn. We can still take this, probably, to be honest, although we do fall for this queen d8 trap, right? Because once the queen gets away of the knight's attack, you're attacking both the rook and the knight. So once that pawn's not pinned anymore, you got to save your knight. And, well, it's hard to move the knight when your rook is hanging. So here I'm surprised they didn't take on h7. You know, it looks like a free check to me. So who knows? I guess they were worried about their e-pawn. Bishop takes bishop back to d3. Oh, but you don't have to worry about the e-pawn because you have knight takes again. That's a fork. So yeah, h7 just looks like a free pawn. We see the knight coming back, adding more pressure on e3. So white's either going to defend it or they're going to maybe trade. Bishop takes, there should be queen takes, but not giving up the bishop. Hey, Speed Chess, how's it going? Maybe the king will be a boss in f7. Yeah, usually after the check, probably the king goes to the corner, I'd imagine. But okay, well, the knight was not grabbed and now lives to see another day. We could see this knight hopping into some of these squares. But probably not, to be honest. Like knight here and we take, that's going to be double isolated c pawns for black. So now we see the queen d8 move. Now the rook comes back. The other game. Okay. Queen's doubled up on the e-file here. This is a backwards pawn for sure. There's this move knight a4. Yes, and now we're looking at some forward thinking squares here for white. Let's take a look at some of the other games. We haven't looked at all of them. Wow. Knight here, and we have a double question mark. A blunder, if you will. And it's because rook takes b2, queen takes b2, and then queen h4. Wow, and then this pawn will be hanging, I guess. I don't know. I guess you can't defend that? I don't know. That seems kind of crazy. Oh, because the rook is hanging in that line. Queen h4, and if we play here, then the rook is going to take. Wow. Rook takes b2 is a blunder. So, yeah, queen h4 would have been really strong. This queen is guarding that. That's why you take on b2, distract the queen, and now white. You see they immediately take on b8. They're bringing the king in, trying to guard some of these squares. So Gergely Cantor maybe let off the hook there from Barat. And now Barat, less than a minute on the clock. Okay. We do have some other games we got to check out. Did we look at Aryan Chopra here? Looks like... How is this position? Oh my god, there's no queen for white. White, where did your queen go? Boom. Queen gives herself up. So white's gonna try and make a fortress. Oh my god, they're threatening mate. Check. Whoa, and white's winning. Check, check, check. Hold on. Wait, they're repeating? That's a draw. Where was the win? King h8's the only move. They just... Hold on, guys. There was a win here. So here we play the move rook g to g7. We double our rooks. We're threatening knight, fork, but also mate. So this was a win for white. They just agreed to a draw. That's crazy. Loses his queen. I mean, comes back, but only finds a draw. Okay, Yerparkov down to 5 seconds. No, 8 seconds. To Nicolozzi's 20. But Yer is winning. Can they hold on to a win with such low time? Let's give Aryan his draw. He goes up to 2 points. Samant Aditya also goes up to 2 points out of 3 games. So they're still tied 4.5 to 4.5. Yerparkov passed pawn. Oh man. Rook's gonna be hanging 5 seconds for Yer. Check. Knight takes, hits the rook. Rook steps aside. Bishop's guarding this. Rook opposite the king. Both sides less than 10 seconds. Pawn push. Big question mark. Knight comes back, hits the bishop. Bishop tucks back. Rook behind the pawn. Our bishop's pinned, by the way. Attacking the bishop, but the bishop comes back. Rook steps aside. Check. Bishop's hit. And the pawn is going to be hanging. So the king steps up to defend everything. Bishop coming in, trying to get the knight in with a check. Rook check. So black is just up 2 pawns. Hold on. Wait, bishop takes. Why wouldn't you do bishop takes? Check. I guess this is still very good. Now bishop takes. I mean, you're getting mated here. Here, and then even the knight's mating you. That's ridiculous. Beautiful game there from Yerparkov. This game's been going absolutely back and forth, but Yer's win gives Dallas their first lead of the match. They're up by 1. And Gergely Cantor is looking to add on to that lead, but it's only a pawn advantage in a rook and pawn endgame. Oh, and we have another draw. Victor and Kustav. Oh, but this is me getting misplayed. King up. Oh my god, that's a beautiful move for white, and this pawn is just going to get absolutely corralled. Rook. Oh, rook goes here. Defending. Well, I mean, you're going to have to come here at some point, right? Oh, he's coming around. He's coming around the mountain, as they say. Rook's guarding this guy, but I mean, at some point, you're going to have to take this pawn. Whoa. Okay, but yeah, takes and takes here still. 5 seconds. Don't flag. Oh, what's going on? What are we doing? Take the pawn. There it is. Wait, oh, but that was bad. I don't know. I don't know. Check. Wait, king up. Oh, and then you're going to use the pawn to shield yourself. Uh-oh. Man, rook and pawn endgames are so tough. All right, at some point you build a bridge or something. I don't know. What's going on? The king's gonna have to come up, but now the pawn pushes. Another pawn push, or is that drawing? I don't know. I have to give Victor and his opponent, Victor and Kustav, their draws. So Kustav gets on the board. This has been a rough match for Nicolozzi. Push the pawn, yes. You get checked maybe once, but that's it. King down and now resigns. Basically. Boom. Wow. Gergely Cantor. That was a huge round for UT Dallas. Yerparkov and Gergely Cantor combining 2 big points for Dallas, taking it from a tied game to a 2-point lead with 1 round remaining. St. Louis, they're going to have to come up with a big 3-pointer here in order to even up the match score. So that round was 3-1. 2 wins and 2 draws for Dallas. All right. The 4th and potentially final round is beginning here with a Sicilian for Barat, who has no time to rest after that against Gergely Cantor, who's been perfect so far today. He came to play. He's 3 for 3. And Cantor, he's up against the top board from St. Louis, Aryan Chopra, who is 2 out of 3. 2 draws and a win. Can he take down the dominant Gergely Cantor? So Dallas, they win the match with 1.5 points. Otherwise, they'll need at least 1 point to force overtime. So here we see a knight trade. Isolated pawn here for white. Pawn gets hit by the queen. So queen comes out, kind of pins this bishop to the pawn. The knight gets questioned. No forward moves for this knight. So the knight goes backwards here. I've been good, Destin. How have you been? How's it going? Good to see you. Knight trade is being offered. Takes with the queen there and just keeping this bishop tied down. Also bishop adding some heat to the fire here. Getting off this diagonal. This rook is helping defend the b pawn. We could see the bishop try to sneak its way in, cause some disturbances, but I fully expect the pawn to be pushed here. I don't think we want to allow the bishop to come here or here. So b5 is played. We could see a4. And we're saying, hey, your b pawn is pinned. Or c4. Both are potentially good. So just threatening to take. Although the rook could take, and then that's kind of annoying. You're well, very cool. I have some exciting news to share. Just randomly in the presence of Destin. The College Ambassador Program, which is somewhat similar to the Collegiate Chess League. It's like college chess club leaders from around the world can join, and they get free membership prizes and other perks and benefits partnering with chess.com. So if you're in the Collegiate Chess League, you're welcome to the College Ambassador Program. But there's no competition involved, so it's not like you're playing matches against other schools or anything. That is the Collegiate Chess League, so that's kind of the competition. This is a trapped rook, by the way. Okay, but this rook move, yes, bishop develops with tempo on the rook, so the rook comes here. Kind of a sneaky, clever way to save your rook is by threatening their rook. Anyways, why I talk about the College Ambassador Program is because our first ever school from Portugal just joined just this month. So shout out to Portugal. Okay, look at these bishops just taking up a lot of space, attacking these pawns. Okay. Hello, Chanel. Hello, Mala, the bear. How's it going? Yeah, UT Dallas, they were trailing by 1 point after that first round, but they had SLU right where they wanted them. They brought it back, tied it, And now they took the lead in that third round, and now they're looking to close things out here in round 4. And so far, so good. It looks good on Samant's board here with the black pieces, no less. Pawn push. This is threatening a fork here. Well, not really, because this rook is defended. But yeah, this pawn push, it's looking to win at least maybe the B pawn. Rook lift, but maybe we just take. Well, I guess the queen's here, but this is a doubled pawn, right? And white has no doubled pawns, but they're potentially going to be isolated a pawn. So that could be some advantage there. But let's check in with Victor Gajic. Victor, with the black pieces, looks to be maybe struggling a little bit against Yair Parkov. With the white pieces, who looks like they've got the bishop pair. Maybe a rook joining the G file. That being said, Yair's down a little bit on time. And we've seen Yair get into some time pressure before, but in that last round, they came up big and they clutched. So the time pressure wasn't enough. Yair was able to convert on the 2-second increment. So we do see the rook joining the black king on the G file. And yeah, it looks like white's just going to be able to bring a lot of firepower, a lot of heat against the black king on the open G file. So we'll have to keep an eye out on this game. But let's take a quick look at Nicolosi. We haven't looked at this game yet, and Nicolosi is the only player without any points on the board. This is board 4. You need points if you're to succeed in Division 1. So Nicolosi, not the best start. They lost all 3 games so far, and right now in round 4, they're up against board 4. So this is literally their only chance, their last chance, unless they force overtime. But they're going to really need Nicolosi to pull through here. And Nicolosi looks like they're doing well with the black pieces. They've got this really nice knight, this lock on the IQP, this isolated queen's pawn here. This knight hasn't even developed. It's boxed out by this bishop. So we see this capture from Nicolosi. Now this does mean this pawn's technically a passed pawn, but it's not connected. It's not defended by any other pawns. And these knights are doing a tremendous job, and the bishop as well. Just such control with the minor pieces here from black. White, they have some progress to be made. This bishop's boxed out by its own pawn. This knight is dominated by the bishop, still on the back rank. But white's still fighting. White's still very much in this game. They're going to maybe double up on the F file. Also, look at the time advantage here for white. White's up about 1 minute and 20 seconds. Okay, wow, we already have a result. Grigeli Cantor not winning all 4 games, agreeing to a draw here. A rook and pawn in game. Looks like white was about to even things up there in material. So Grigeli says, hey guys, listen, I just got us 3.5 points. So it's on you guys. We need 1 more point. He said he did his work. His job is done. And now it's up to his teammates to see if they can convert. And right now, Samant Aditya is saying, I'm going to be that guy. So right now, it looks like we had this pawn push, it's a discovery with the bishop trying to pin the knight to the rook. So that's why we see the rook lift. Queen steps up, and now pawn takes. Queen takes, gets a question mark here. Rook here is a question mark move. What do they want? D4, just hitting the bishop? But the rook here hits the bishop and the pawn. Bishop hits the knight. We can take this pawn 2 different ways. But black's going to be able to take another pawn too. So right now it's just a pawn advantage for black. But it's about to get into a bit of a time scramble. It's 1 minute to 45 seconds basically. So we see the knight gets traded for the bishop. Queen takes the pawn, and now this is an outside pass pawn. That's going to be a very big long-term advantage. But keep an eye out for your king safety, by the way. These are some active rooks. I know the computer says black is better, but black is also down on the clock, and the rook on the 7th. This is a scary piece. The only thing holding white back right now is this back rank. So if the queen goes trying to say hello to checkmate, you're the one that's getting mated. So Samat Aditya, he understands the danger. He brings his queen around. He says hello to the rook, to the queen, and to white's king here. Of course, we're declining that trade. We need to keep the material on because we are down material right now. Rook trying to do his part and say hello as well. Don't make a flight square here because, well, guess what? That's not a flight square. You're going to have to go to g3. And then guess what? Your queen is going to get questioned on the light squares. So I don't think you want to play f3. If you bring the knight back to c1, the rook's still going to come to b1, threatening the knight. For a second time, we do see g3, queen f3, and again, your back rank is going to have some problems. So maybe there's queen e1. No, but then you drop the d-pawn, so we see the knight developing. That's going to guard the back rank for a second. But we could see the knight take back. No. See the rook take back. Now the rook's offering this trade. So black has done a very good job so far. Here, maybe the rook's double on the back rank. It's only 6 seconds. Okay. So the bishop threatening to card a4, but the knight's even there. So we see, okay, rook here to defend. Otherwise, moving the knight, you drop your d-pawn. This is looking to be dead even. Let me see. There was another draw. Viktor Gajic and Yair Parkov. So it's at 8 points now. Any draw for any Dallas player wins the match. That's a good result for Yair Parkov as well. Oh my goodness, black is winning. Oh, but they messed up. Oh, and now they're losing. Oh my god, that's a lot of pawns. That is a lot of pawns. Rook takes pawn. Rook back is a fork here, but there's rook takes and then rook's hanging. Oh my goodness, Barat is bringing it back. And Nicolosi is winning as well. Don't go anywhere just yet. Yeah, Barak resigned. That walked right into a fork. Oh my goodness. Barat gets a huge point for SLU, and they're back within 1. And this is the last game. Nicolosi, 2 seconds in a must-win situation. Kustov wins the match with a draw. Rook, bishop, and queen. And a bunch of pawns. It looks like it's a rook and pawn endgame, but it looks equal. Oh, now it's 2 versus 2. Yeah, I think you needed to keep the outside pass pawn, but man, Nicolosi had his chance. And there's the draw. UT Dallas wins. I don't know if Nicolosi knew, but let's take a look back where Nicolosi could have done something. Yes, Kustov blunders this huge fork. I mean, look at that family fork. Everyone's in the picture. So there goes an exchange. But then he messes it up. He gives it right back. Unbelievable, these knights. Oh, my word. He was up in exchange and he gave it back. Those knights are tricky, man. And so Kustov, Chatterjee, UT Dallas really said, let's draw our way to victory. Every single point they had in that last round. So UT Dallas, they returned the favor, getting all draws in that fourth and final round. Yeah, huge win for them by half a point. So SLU, their first loss of the season since last season. Wow, very close. But don't go anywhere just yet, folks. We will be having a second round to watch this UT Dallas team. They'll be right back. The next round isn't scheduled until 3:30 Eastern, so we have about 30 minutes. So we'll just we'll take a break until then. So stick around, guys. We'll be right back. We might have a player interview. We'll see. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome, everyone. This is the Collegiate Chess League Spring 2026 Week 2. We are about to watch UT Dallas take on their in-state rivals, UT Rio Grande Valley. And UT Dallas just beat St. Louis University by half a point. So before we get started, though, I have to share that both UTD and UTRGV are coming off a match prior because they had to reschedule their first week match. And UTRGV actually just went into overtime against the team from India, SRM IST. And the final game of that match is actually underway as we speak. So let me actually see if I can pull that game up for you all so that we can watch it. But yeah, this will be pretty crazy. Hold on. It is a blitz game, actually. Let me pull this up. 1 second. Okay. It's not very clean because it's not from our events page, but you know, it is what it is. So this is a 3+2 game. UTRGV is already winning 2-1 in their match in the final round, the overtime round. But SRM can tie it with a win here, and it looks like they're about to. Wait, no, never mind. Wait, the SRM player. Oh yeah, they have white. So the big boss is Jose. White won, so they're tied 2-2. So that means they're gonna go to another round of overtime. Oh my goodness, they're gonna go to 1+2 now. This is crazy. Also, shout out to Suli. Thank you so much for the raid. How was your match? Was it better than last week? Oh, it didn't go your way? That's unfortunate, Rama. Sorry to hear that. All right, so we have some exciting overtime chess, some extra chess. So SRM IST and UTRGV, they're going to round 6. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to follow these players and follow this match. I don't think I can update the scoreboard in time. So who knows? Maybe I can. Maybe. Let's see. Who all is playing for SRM? It's tied 10-10 right now. Also, yeah, I mean, UTRGV, they have different players playing this match than the next one, so. We'll watch Jose for now. Jose's lost both games. Oh, man. Jose is board 2. Jose only has 1 point. It's kind of rough. Let me let's watch this UTRGV match and see how this ends. Jose is 0 for 2 against this player, Avinash, I believe. Avinash Ramesh, the Nightmare. And this is turning to be Jose's personal nightmare. Jose has an isolated queen pawn, looking to trade that. So he does get the trade. Rook takes, so planning to push the d pawn. There's one check. King's going to step up. Rook's doubled. Probably bring his rook back to e2, forcing either a rook trade or the rook decline. So you either trade and move on. Okay, stepping up. Now, if you push d5 here, you're going to get pinned. So the king is joining in to help out in the center. Now pushing the pawn, but you could still get pinned though. So I guess the king will step over to either e5 or e4. Goes to e4. If you go to e5, you're getting checked on f6. Maybe he wanted to induce that, but probably not, I guess. Okay, f4, and his rook is still hanging on d2, so he might want to lift his rook at some point to either d3 or d4. Okay, g6, g4. Rook stepping back. Okay, king e5, so you can get checked, and then your king goes straight back. Okay. Rook over, so that allows either d6 check or to take. Taking makes sense. Pushing now, both sides getting some more isolated pawns. This rook is about to enter with either a check or to c3. This rook is always there to block. But okay, the rook is conceding the c file. Wow, but this rook's coming in. And this king is boxing him out, so he's trying to go for these checks. Now the b pawn is weak. Takes check here first, forcing the king back to the back rank. Gobbling both of these pawns, and now the b pawn is passed. King is stepping over, but this king is entering. Oh no. This king is going to help push the a pawn. So Jose maybe getting past his demons, his nightmares, and is able to finally get a win here against Avinash. Could this be huge for the UTRGV team? I see it is still tied 10-10. Set 6 here they're in. There's one check. King steps over. No, he's going to get checked again. I think the king should run to the middle. Go to d6. Yes, and now you're threatening mate. There's going to be... Okay, he's taking here. And at some point, he's going to be able to queen. If rook takes, you can force a rook trade off the board, but then you're going to win this endgame. So king here. Oh, he trades here. Yeah, it's not going to be working out for you. So resigns. Big one there for UTRGV. Let's check in with maybe some of the other players. Like, let's see if I can follow some of the other ones. I'm not seeing. Blitz King won, so that's tied. Okay, the other match is a draw, so the last one is Srihari versus Mighty Chinchilla. But I couldn't find that game. Who is Mighty Chinchilla? That is Gleb. Do I have Gleb? No, Gleb is not playing in this next match. Woodland Magic. Maybe. Where's that game? Okay, hold on. Did he not play? It's supposed to be 1+2. Is Gleb not playing now? Oh my goodness. It's Gleb versus Srihari L, right? That needs to be played. It's tied 11.5 to 11.5. And there's one game left. And it has to be, if it draws, they go again. Why is Srihari L not playing Gleb? Oh my goodness, of course. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hold on. It's tied 11.5 to 11.5. And they have one game left in round 6. And there's another game to be... There's a whole nother match to be had after this. Where's Duden? Oh, is Duden busy? Imagine. Oh, this is some CCL drama here in week 2. Let's see where Duden is. They might forfeit. I'm not hearing anything. Okay, apparently he has an issue. A forfeit. Well, if the Texas player doesn't play the match, then the... Yeah, I don't know how much time do we give them for tiebreak rounds? Hmm. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna take another break and see if we can get this second match started between UT Dallas and UTRGV. So it's been a long time, Shrubby. It has been. It's been some amount of time. We should have some sort of rule for these overtime rounds, I think. Maybe like 5 minutes or something. But I feel like it's been more than that, so um I'm talking to both teams' captains, by the way. Where is Glebduden? Where's this guy? Is Gleb even on? He's not even online. I'm trying to start this next match. So I don't know what happened to Gleb, unfortunately. But yeah, Dallas has been waiting, so let's see. Okay. They should be joining soon. All right. So UTRGV's last player forfeits that match, so SRM wins. So UTRGV loses that, unfortunately, but they're gonna have another match here against UT Dallas now. So let me go ahead and update the scoreboard. And yeah, we'll be waiting for these games to start. Do you need to have the most wins in both Group A and B of your division, or just your group division? Well, first off, you don't need to have the most wins in either group. But also, you're not allowed to have a team in both Group A and Group B. That's not possible because you're not allowed to have two teams in the same division. So basically, how it works is Group A and Group B have separate round robins. So we break them into two groups of 8 because each group has their own round robin. And it's groups of 8 because the season is only 7 weeks long. So you do one match per week for 7 weeks for 7 matches. So if you have a group of 8, you play against all 7 other teams. Anyways, your regular season standings determines your playoff seeding. So the top 6 teams in each group qualify for the playoff bracket. So there will be a first seed in each group. So basically, if the top 6 from each group make the playoff bracket, that means that the playoff bracket is 12 teams big. So your top 2 teams from each group will get a bye in the first round, and they automatically qualify for the quarterfinals. So the first round would be the bottom 8 teams of the 12-team bracket. So if you're placed 6th through 3rd in your group, then you play in that first round of playoffs. And then if you win in that first round of playoffs, then you move on to the quarterfinals. If you lose in the playoffs, you're eliminated. Unless you're in semifinals, then you move on to the 3rd place round. Anyways, yeah, it's a 12-team bracket. All right, we're about to get this Dallas and UTRGV match started. So Thanks everyone for your patience. UTRGV had a overtime that went even longer than anticipated against SRM IST. And then even having a player abandon their post. At the very end, which is kind of unfortunate for them. Anyways. Okay, he should be joining soon, they said. All right. Here we go. We've got some chess. Nice fancy wipe there. All right, so all 4 players from UTRGV are joined UT Dallas. They've had a long day, a delay on the start, but we've got the games underway now. So here we go. This is Jacob Fuss from UTRGV up against Samant S. Okay, we actually have Jose's game starting us off here. So Jose just played against SRM IST, 6 rounds no less, 2 more than usual because of overtime. So they're potentially warmed up or they're tired. But you know what? Kustav also just played, but maybe had a bit of a break. So both these teams playing back-to-back matches, UT Dallas having a little bit of a break, but also UTRGV, I think they swapped out 2 of their players that had just played against SRM IST. So 2 of them were coming off the bench, maybe a little cold, but also maybe well rested. Who's to say? Let's check in with Ekin Osnier. I saw Ekin in Vegas, I believe, playing at the North American Open. Ekin's been one of my favorite players from UTRGV. Looks like we have a potential gambit here. Ooh, White's just gonna have to take back on c3, damaging that pawn structure. So yeah, not taking back right away. Otherwise, Black could have traded queens and made Black go uncastled. So instead, we see knight b to d2 from White, and that allowed for Black to just toss the pawn away on c3. I wonder if, I guess, b5 would have been bad, trying to hold on to that pawn advantage. Maybe allow for a quick a4. But okay. Queen steps up, potentially allowing for a queenside castles, which would be probably really bad because of your weak queenside, but that'd be kind of funny. Anyways, queen here, interestingly enough. Maybe wanting the bishop here. We see queen c7. Now this bishop's probably going to develop, trying to get castled, but Black could also try to attack you. Here we see exactly what we thought. Yeah, opposite side castles here. If you take this pawn, well, your bishop's going to get trapped, so that wouldn't be good. What did the computer want here? Rook f to b1. Okay. Instead, knight b3 hitting the bishop. Bishop tucks back, saving itself, but also attacking h2. That is defended for now. Let's check in on the other games we've got going on here. So we started with Jacob Fuss. Jacob's playing against Samant S. So yeah, we saw all these Dallas players playing earlier today. We've got some doubled pawns here for black. Nice bishop though. We see a potential trade here. If we take this, that's going to give black a connected pass pawn. And that's exactly what we see. So very interesting decision here. That knight was very strong though on a dark square. So the light square bishop had no power over that knight. So the only minor piece white had to trade with goes ahead and does so. We see the pawns defended by the queen here instead of by the other pawn. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, queen steps up with a tempo. Queen steps up with a defense. And keeping the rook modest, trained on the f2 pawn. So, wow. c5, saying I'm going to go after you on the c file. I'm going to prevent you from playing c5. So very, very intriguing. This also opens up for the bishop ever so slightly. We could also consider trading bishops. This is a very strong piece here for sure. So bishop here could be a welcomed sight. But you do get tempoed here, so probably not ideal. Maybe you can come around here, go after these weak pawns. But no, we don't see that bishop trade. This bishop's blockading this pawn as well. Yo, we're getting a huge raid from chess.com. Shout out to Chess. We love chess. For those of you joining, this is the start of a in-state rivalry match between two Texan schools, University of Texas at Dallas versus University of Texas at Rio Grande Valley, UTRGV. And both of these teams are actually coming off of a match prior to this earlier today. They've got a double header. Also, black's threatening mate. Look at that. Nice pin. Now this is attacking the rook. Rook's probably going to give a check. Otherwise, we'd love to play bishop here and then try to mate. But again, this pawn is no longer pinned after this king move to f1. But black's looking very good here. Probably just like any rook move to save it. He's probably really considering bishop here, rook, like sacking the rook somehow. I don't think it's possible, but that'd be cool. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Okay, so rook check, king here is only legal move. Trading one pair of rooks off the board. Rook steps up, going after the e pawn. If pawn push, the g pawn falls. So Gergely Cantor, he has yet to be beat. UT Dallas earlier today, they played against St. Louis University, the defending champions, and they actually beat SLU. So Gergely Cantor was a huge part of that. They only won by 1 point. It was 8.5 to 7.5, and Gergely Cantor had 3.5 of those points as one player. He did not lose a single game. So yeah, very strong performance from Gergely, going 3.5 out of 4. Here, there's this nice maneuver. Bishop going after the pinned piece, forcing the king to defend. Pawn takes back, and now the h pawn gets dropped. But black grabs the a pawn, and that is what we call an outside pass pawn. So a very valuable pawn and a 2-pawn advantage for Gergely. Here we see a centralization of the king, making sure that the king is close by, guarding all of the weak points. This pawn is also a little isolated, so white's going to try to bother these weak pawns. Here we see a rook check, and yeah, black's name of the game here, just get that outside pass pawn rolling. So Yeah, I'm not sure why not rook or king here, but okay. Yep, we see that pawn go in 2 squares. Rook comes over. Now there's some checks. You could force the king back. Now this pawn's pushing. This is not an easy conversion. Don't let the 2-pawn advantage fool you. This very well could end up in a draw. Oh, the king went here to guard this pawn. That's got to be why. What's up, Christamir? What's up, Shrubby? Let's see. We got Almond Redeem here. Hello, Bouncer Luke. How's it going? Shout out to Akshansh and Ben. Hope you guys are all doing well. Appreciate the support. So I had mentioned UT Dallas just coming off of a win against SLU. That was actually their first match of the season, SLU's second match of the season. Essentially, UT Dallas and UTRGV, they were supposed to play in the first week, last weekend, but they all had dates for Valentine's Day. I'm joking. That was a lie. They didn't have dates, guys. Come on. They were playing more chess. They were playing chess at the Texas Collegiate Championship because both these schools are from Texas. And when they decided to schedule their event, they were like, what weekend do we know all the chess players will be free and have nothing else going on? And they're like, Valentine's Day. Okay, I'm joking, obviously, but no, they did have a tournament on Valentine's Day, so they couldn't play in the CCL. So they both agreed to reschedule their match to today. And that's what we're seeing here, is they're back to back. So after this, they'll be all evened up at 2 matches. But UTRGV, they had a bit of a rough match against SRM, Institute of Science and Technology, all the way in India. They ended up tying 8-8, which then required round 5 of overtime. And that ended up being a draw as well. So it was tied 10-10. Look at white here. With what little they have remaining, the king is here. The rook is pinning the f pawn. Now, if you take this pawn, white's going to push and say your pawn is still pinned. And if you don't take, well, then white's going to take and you're still pinned. Or even worse, they're going to checkmate you. So watch out for that sneaky trick. The old f6 pawn mate, by the way. You might have to bring the king back here. But guess what? You're going to get checked again. And if you go here, you're going to get checked here. Oh, but then you go here. I was thinking you'd get mated somehow. But no, it's still tricky though. Ekin Oznir not going down without a fight, and Grigeli Cantor down to 14 seconds has to figure this out. Whoa, pushes the pawn and the computer says it's a draw now. It's an absolute draw. How is that? Probably pawn takes, no? We see some wild eval swings. Jacob Fuss is winning for UTRGV with the white pieces. These are some strong pawns here. Gustav Chatterjee is winning. That's a free rook right there. Boom. That's a free pawn. Bishop takes, probably, but then maybe you get mated. Probably not. Let's see. Rook comes over. Lots of pressure on the f-pawn. Not sure why we don't just take on d5, but okay. 6 seconds. There is a 2-second increment. Queen takes, threatening something. But rook takes. Wow, look at that. Oh, and then the rook check. Okay. Queen takes. Wow, that's how you win a queen. That's pretty good. But rook and bishop, it's not over yet. Let's check in. We've got Yair Parkov playing against Santiago Avila. Knight versus bishop, both sides less than 15 seconds. Jacob Fuss won their game, so UTRGV on the board. Up by 1. This is looking pretty equal. Let's keep an eye on this Grigeli Cantor game. It looks like he messed it up, right? Pawn push. Computer says this is draw now with the move f6 check, but was not played. So f6, you can't go here because you're just getting mated. So, okay, black takes, allows this pawn to push, but then they trade pawns. So it's 3 versus none. Yeah, I mean, it's just 3 pawns to none. Even though these are doubled and isolated, this extra pawn is going to help a lot. That was a threat to check. We can check. We can check. King goes here. No, we have pawn push now. Now we're threatening to trade again. So the rook has to come back or the king has to move. But no, this is just... Oh, he's going for stalemate. He's going for stalemate. What a move. What a resource. What a tricky guy, this Ekin Oznir. And of course, Grigeli Cantor doesn't take the bait. He says, you're going to have to do a little harder than that to get me. Although Ekin did miss the f6 draw, but, you know, tricky guy, this Ekin. He's got some tricks up his sleeves, so can't take the free rook, apparently. Gustav beat Jose, so that's going to tie the match back up at 1. Let me give them a 1 instead of a 4. Okay, Yer and Santiago, they're still looking drawn. It's a pawn and a rook for both sides. The L is silent. It's not Grigeli. Anyways, we see resignation, so he forces the rook off, and the pawns are going to be more than enough. Cantor wins. We've got one last game. Oh my goodness. It was rook and pawn. It should have been equal. But black forces a winning setup here. That pawn was pinned. And now we have an extra pawn. And the king squeezes over, and you can queen. With check, no less. So Santiago beats Yer. And that ties things up at 2 each. So the 2 Texas schools are all squared away. And we've got another round 2 beginning here. Yer Parkov versus Jose Cardozo. Should I put a prediction in the chat? Who's going to win? All right. Channel points. It's on my channel. Should I do it in the CCL channel too? Are you guys going to be picky? Let's see. I did an interview with Cantor. You'd think I would have figured it out or asked him. All right. We've got predictions in both channels. And if you're watching from ChessCom community, I'm sorry. I don't know. What are you doing over there? Who's watching on the community channel? Anyways, okay. Shout out to ChessComp community though. Definitely love them. I don't know when the last time they had their stream before CCL. There was someone put in a host command, and the host command said today's host is WIM Ajulan Martinez, and the brilliant Kinchu Tot is making the moves for us. You can find. So I don't know when the last time they did anything. Anyways, how are the predictions looking so far? Okay, no points. No points anywhere. Okay, if I had to guess though, I would pick I think UT Dallas because they just beat SLU. I mean, come on. You switched to mine, Christomir. Nice. Let me know what happened in the on the chess stream. They were doing the under 13, right? Okay, knight here, but I don't understand what we're going for. We're opening up this bishop, and we're attacking this pawn, maybe. But it looks to me like everything seems pretty well defended. So maybe we want to go f4, and then we're making some real threats. Bodana was winning. Nice. All right, knight forking the rook and the queen. So we see the bishop trade, pawn takes, and now we have a discovery on the rook here. So the rook will probably move, but then we're going to go here. Also, if you give up this, yeah, if the rook moves, knight here to here looks very, very intriguing. Very interesting. Hello, Theorodius. I am good. How are you? 9.5 out of 10. That's pretty good. Okay, so knight here, I'm expecting. Probably. Yes. Knight threatening the fork. I'm surprised the eval says this is so even for white. It looks very good for white. So queen here. Bishop here. Looks annoying. Knight here also looks annoying. So I guess you have to go here. And now, I mean, can't we just take with check, with a fork, queen takes, and then we have bishop here as a fork? Winning an exchange? The computer knows something that I don't, because I think this is really good for white, but the computer's saying it's equal. It's saying you're going to have to work a little harder than that, apparently. So, I don't know, guys. How is this not just winning an exchange? It's been played. Knight here. Black says, to heck with the exchange. You just gave up your Fianchetto bishop. But I guess, yeah, also Black's winning a pawn. So there's that. Yeah, I guess Yuri Parkov's gonna have to put up some defense here, down in exchange. Let's check in with some of the other games that we got going on. We have Simons here versus Ekin Oznir. So we watched Ekin go down to Cantor, and Simons, they lost their game. So both players with an opportunity to get on the board here in this match. Fairly even. Oh, Grigeli. I'm going to keep saying Grigeli until Kristamir starts yelling at me. Cantor is crushing this. Cantor has been crushing it all day. Oh my goodness. Double exclam. Pawn takes, opening up the E file, winning the piece back with momentum. And yeah, we just see that the pieces are getting bullied off the board. trade, rook in with tempo, bishop in with tempo, trading, winning a pawn, just absolutely taking it to the black pieces right now. This man, he doesn't seem to be stoppable. Wow. I mean, what a game this is. Yeah. Here, I mean, that's going to be another 2 pawns. Basically, he takes this one first. Rook in is, oh my lord. Oh my goodness. Rook check, bishop block. What are we doing here? Queen check. Queen takes pawn. So we're threatening knight takes, by the way. With knight here, gonna be some devastation. The idea is if pawn takes, we have bishop takes. This guy wants the, no, what? I don't even know what this guy wants. This has to be like, this is gonna be game over. I mean, come on. What do they want? Some perpetuals? No, you don't even have any of that. Attacking the knight, but we wanted to take here anyways. Knight takes, and I mean, this is resignable. What a game. What a game here from Cantor. Oh, the queen's coming in. Oh, and this queen's coming. Oh, my goodness. Oh, it's brutal. It's a KO. That's sick, dude. Yeah, queen here. I guess we should have gone b6 right away. I don't know. I forgot all about that, by the way. When the queen was here, it was guarding, but now it's not. But no, this was lights out. Very, very nice mating pattern here. Bishop takes mate. Holy smokes. We're watching some good chess here. All right, let's check in with Santiago. Yeah, Cantor, he is taking names. He means business. For those of you that don't remember, Cantor already played earlier today, and he went 3.5 out of 4. Now he's 5.5 out of 6. And there's no end in sight. He's got 2 games left. Oh, sorry, Christomir, the link. It didn't like the link. Okay. Santiago Avila pushing g4, hitting the queen. This king, he might get checked, but that's a-okay with him. Rook lift, but things are looking good for white. I like the bishop pair. This knight is just, it feels like it's barely holding on to all these squares. This rook looks really aggressive. So there's pressure right now on the rook. These bishops, they're covering a lot of ground here. If rook to c5, what could we see? Well, the bishop's defended, so okay, that's a blunder, I think. Maybe. Is it? I don't know. Takes is very dangerous though, because you get checked here. Oh, do we do that? I don't know, guys. This is kind of crazy. Oh, the move is bishop takes e6. That's the move. That's also what I was looking at earlier that I was thinking about. That was a mistake. Here now we take on c6, hitting the rook. Here now we pin the bishop. Yeah, we pin the bishop. Now what? You've got nothing. Queen here, but then queen here. Ah, and that covers the flight square as well. There's no time for rook takes because you take here. GG. Beautiful. Beautiful move here from Santiago. That's a KO move right there. Rook takes, queen takes. Okay, playing down rook versus queen. Gonna be a tough one. Samant and Ekin draw. So they both get on the board. Dallas is up by 1 thanks to Cantor. Santiago should convert this one, which should tie things up for UTRGV, but Yer Parkov with the black pieces. Remember, he lost an exchange earlier but won a pawn. Well, he got a second pawn. And now with all of these pawns, black and 2 knights, don't discredit the knights. Look at this bishop. Is the bishop boxing out the knight, or is the knight boxing out the bishop? What do you guys think? Oh my goodness. Oh, rook's doubled, but the knight's here. I thought the knight was going to attack this bishop. Rook trade offered. This pawn has a lot of pressure. Maybe you play rook takes. No, takes here. Okay. Pawn takes, bishop takes, but you're going to lose this pawn. Knight takes. The H pawn's running, but the A pawn is running too. Can you push it? Okay, white's got the rooks though. Computer still likes black, by the way. It is not easy. Hold on. Don't go here to defend the pawn because the knight's gonna fork you. This rook is hit. That's a potential fork. Uh-oh. Pawn push. Knight takes. Oh my goodness. The pawns. I feel like the pawns are marching home. Santiago gets a win. So that's 2 points for Santiago, leading the UTRGV team. That's going to tie things up here, but Yer Parkov for UT Dallas. They've got all these pawns. Oh my god, he flagged. All those pawns, but none of the time. Dr. Acula, hello. What a heartbreaker here from Yer. Didn't know what to do with the computer just constantly favored black, like every step of the way. Here, the only move is rook takes. Sack the rook. You never needed it. This pawn is way too valuable. Sack the rook for the pawn, and then good luck to the 2 rooks. I mean, that's a lot of pawns there. 4 pawns and a knight. So you're down in exchange, but you're down in exchange and a rook, but you have 4 pawns to your name. So, and they're all connected and they're all passed. And that rook is not really a rook either. That's just a piece placement. Okay, point goes to Jose. So he finds the win on time, and that gives UT Rio Grande Valley their lead. So they're up by 1, and here we go into round 3. Good night, Theo. Theo Rodeos, thanks for being here. Okay, so we saw UT Dallas. They were behind against SLU to start, and then they brought it back. And they had a monstrous round 3. So this game is not wanting to move for me, so that's very annoying. I might have to switch it up. Do you guys not see the chess? Dracula? Oh, Christomir, do you see the emote? Emote says well played. Okay. The moves are coming in for me now, which is great. But now I want to switch and look at some other games. This is Gustav versus Jacob. How's Jacob doing? Jacob Fuss, they've got 1 point. We saw them lose to Cantor. Let's check in with Cantor. Cantor has just been absolutely crushing it all over the place. Santiago, we saw, got a point. So this is round 3. They've both played 2 rounds so far. Both of these players are a perfect 2 for 2 right now. So something's got to give. Is it going to be Gregelli or is it going to be Santiago? And we saw Gregelli in that last match go 3.5 out of 4. But this could be their toughest opponent yet. Santiago Avila, 2 out of 2 right now. And it looks like they have an opportunity to get a slight advantage. This last move, Queen D2, was given a question mark for Cantor. So the move was Knight takes F3, check. And that's a very logical move because the queen is defending the knight. Queen steps up, no longer defending the knight. If you take, you're going to double these pawns. But instead we see some misses here from both sides. So now black again. Opportunity. What did it want here? It wanted D takes? Okay, we do see this trade now. And as you can see, these pawns are not only doubled, but they are also isolated. That is definitely going to be a weakness. So here in this position, we see the knight move attacking the bishop. Bishop is defended. This pawn also, by the way, is hanging. But this knight check, that's an important check in the position. This king is going to have to go uncastled unless you're going to give up the queen. But I have a feeling you don't want to do that. So the king steps aside. Yeah, not sure why this pawn wasn't taken. I mean, especially with the knight here, this is going to be a very deadly pawn to give up because maybe the bishop's going to pin the queen to the king. So in this position, I'm half expecting castles, but no, we see the bishop giving up, and now the knight takes the bishop, rook takes back. So these pawns are nice. In the center here, we do see queenside, but maybe a quick queen development here from black. Yeah, the computer did not like this castles because queen b6. That threatens mate immediately. Mate in 1. That is not good. So queen b6, that's a strong move. It's going to force some sort of pawn push from white. And when you push your pawns, well, your pawns cannot go backwards. So that is going to be a permanent fixture. That could be a weakness in the position. That's going to help black's pieces. No, we don't see. Oh my goodness. Big question mark there. And now white's better. Queen b4 check. Wow. Black had an opportunity to bring out the queen, threatening to checkmate the opponent in a singular move. Instead, now it's giving up this check. And wow, queen f6. Well, that's defended now, though, isn't it? So, oh, but wait, can we not just, oh my god. No, what am I missing? What am I thinking? Can we not just take this pawn and we're defending this? Is there going to be like pawn push here? And we can't defend both B and... What happens if takes a5, queen a4, queen takes king here, rook check? I guess we're just losing our... Well, no. Our queen's defending c2. Check, can we go here? How bad is this, guys? How bad is this, really? I mean, white's... Cantor is looking at all of this. Queen here, I mean, you've got your bishop hanging, right? 2 minutes on his clock. He's really thinking. I mean, I don't see it. Takes a5. as brutal as that might be. Queen a4. The computer says the best move is bishop b3. Don't even deal with all the madness, all the nonsense. Or bishop d2. Or even bishop g3. But it likes these two squares. I still, yeah, he decides to g3. I don't know why. I like the bishop here because the idea is maybe we're attacking this diagonal. But okay, maybe if I may do some analysis here. Here a5, queen a4. Let's say queen takes, king to d2. I was looking at this as a check, which is kind of funny. But the move here is b5. Wow. Here? Queen d4 check. We're not even saving our bishop anymore. Did you guys see that? Because I didn't see that. I'll be honest. Okay. Let's go back to the game. So, rook takes the b pawn. King tucks away, connecting the rooks. King steps off. So now, if any rook can get to this b file, that's going to be deadly. So rook here to here might be a thing. Yeah, rook c6. Just any rook to c6, and black's just crushing. So this could be Gergely Cantor's first loss. Hey Darth, how's it going? Yeah, rook 8 to c6, and we are threatening the devastating rook b6. That's going to be lights out. GG. That's going to do it. So, yeah, and if you think pushing the pawn helps, well, it might help you set up for the next game. But yeah, Santiago. Okay, c3 is the move. Still rook b6. Looking awfully good. Also, I mean, just rook takes c3, right? I mean, that's a ridiculously good move too. Also, it says d4. Okay, so lots of ways to win. Now you could do queen takes if you really wanted to. I think actually queen takes, there's queen takes rook though. So that wouldn't be good. But there is rook takes c3. That there is. There do be rook c3. But also just d4. Whoa, wait, did he not just blunder queen takes b6? Oh, but he takes here. Okay. And now there's queen b3, it's saying. Queen b3, and it says it's okay. Oh my goodness. This game is not over, folks. Black has just made a series of bad decisions. And it still favors black, but I mean, it was like -6. Now it's not even -1. Cantor, he said, I ain't done yet. Don't count me out. It ain't over. Holy smokes. Rook comes back, and now white's for choice. Holy smokes, folks. White's gonna snag the D pawn. Cantor's gonna win this game? Are you kidding me? You're kidding me, right? Who saw this? I mean, white's up 2 pawns, bro. Yeah, they're doubled and isolated, but still. Rook back to d1, of course. Classic. Don't play here and get mated. Okay, going after this pawn now. This bishop's just so good. These pawns so bad. Rook here's the threat. Maybe. Whoa, wait, hold on. Rook g7. Queen D. Oh my lord, what's happening? What's happening? You can't even take King C1. Oh, they needed King C1. What's happening? Queen C2 was the move. Queen C2 was sick. Queen C2 was nasty. Oh, but he messed it up. He messed it up. He flags, bro. Oh my god. That was such a nasty sequence. Rook takes B2 and they missed rook A2, queen C2, man. I've never seen that before. Queen C2 was so nasty. They could have done rook A1 too. Oh my god. And he flags instead. That's so brutal. Oh my god. Apparently rook c2 is so at this point you have to sack the rook for some sort of draw. I can't believe that. Cantor, he's got the plot armor, bro. He's unbeatable, man. Cantor can't be beat, man. Oh my god. That's nasty. I can't even find the games. Did they all finish? I have to put these results in. Hold on. So Cantor won to tie it. Yerparkov won. I got so locked into that game, I didn't see anything else. Kustov Chatterjee won. Oh, that was a big round for Dallas, dude. Holy smokes. And Samantha Didio won. No way. Did they sweep? Dude, call them round 3 UT Dallas. They just swept. And they're 1 point away from winning. They did almost the same thing against SLU in round 3. That was their big 3-1 round, which gave them the lead. And they held on to win. And they didn't get beat in that round either. They won 2 games and they drew the other 2. But in this one, they just took everything. Holy smokes. UTRGV, they were up 4.5 to 3.5. And Dallas said, enjoy it while it lasts, because we're going to take all 4. And now UTRGV, they've got their backs against the wall. They need to answer back with a sweep of their own to win this match. Otherwise, they can only allow for 1 singular draw. And they need to win the rest to force overtime. And we saw what happened in their overtime against SRM-IST. It did not go well. They lost in the very end by 1 player forfeiting. So I think Dallas just clinched it, guys. We didn't even get to see the other games, man. I mean, even if Cantor had lost that game, it would have actually been close. It would be 6.5 to 5.5. It'd be a 1-point game. 1 game is such a huge swing in a difference. It's like 2 points. It's not only the point that you get for winning, it's also taking away the point that they could earn. It's brutal. So, oh man, dude, you know Santiago's got to be kicking himself for not finding Queen C2, dude. Is just such a sick move. Or even, I mean, like Rook A1 would have been nasty too. Rook A1. Obviously, you can't do queen takes because then queen on the back rank check wins the queen. You take with queen. But then I'm trying to think what would happen if king takes A1. You probably still do the back rank check. You get queen A1. There's got to be something with that. Oh, queen A1 and then you take the queen, right? Because that's a That's just a skewer. Oh my god, he had two I'm like, that game is just ridiculous. That was ridiculous. Rook takes b2. King, yeah, king a1, rook a2 check, and you just win. He missed all of the winning moves. He put the rook back on b. He didn't have the time for it, man. And he flagged. It cost him. But man, I'm still hung up on that. How do you expect to have that game? Let's look at Santiago. Santiago has moved on, and he's playing some good moves. He gave up the bishop pair. Opposite side castles, and I'm liking bishop c2. I like just targeting the d pawn. Oh man, he's way down on the clock though. Maybe he's like me. He's still thinking about he's like, oh my god, I can't believe I missed queen c2. Queen c2 or rook a1. They're both just, oh my lord. Oh my lord. What's he doing, bro? What are these tactics, man? He's saying who needs bishop c2? Look at that. He pre-moved e5. This bro's tilted. He's got to be. Best move is queen c7. But okay, this is attacked 3 times, right? Only defended twice. So the idea, if you take with either of these pieces, then you're just losing the queen. Although, to be fair, there's got to be some sort of value to bishop takes. Although I don't like that. But okay. Like, what I'm saying is bishop takes, you've already given up 1 piece. Here you're going to give up a 2nd piece. And then rook takes, bishop takes, you're giving up a rook. But, okay, no, there'd be this queen check fork. Okay, so you get a piece back. Anyways, don't take the pawn. Just move the queen. But you got to figure out where's the best place to move the queen. Right? There's e7, c7, there's b8, which you don't really want to go to. Whoa! Hold up. This is a queen sacrifice. Samant says, go ahead. Please, take my queen. Give me the bishop, give me the rook, give me the 2 pawns in the center. And you know what? I think I'll take that e-pawn as well. So, Samant's saying, hey, you gave me the knight. You want the queen? You're going to have to give up a little bit more. He said, you set this up. You wanted the queen on the d file, right? I don't have to lead the d file. Let me just step right on up. And on top of that, I'm attacking both your pawns and this pawn's next. So, go ahead, be my guest. Whoa, bishop all the way back. Defending the a-pawn. And now the queen actually can't go back. Queen has nowhere to go. Queen only has forward as an option. And guess what? If you take this pawn, well, there's rook to h2. And now where's your queen going? Now your queen is trapped. Santiago said, you wanna play games on the d file? Say hello to the rook. And the only move for black is knight d4. Knight d4. Black has to concede the piece. Which, luckily, white gave up a piece to get here. So, there is always knight d4. So, black, I mean, what else are you going to do? Are these typical 2800s? I mean, I guess, well, technically neither of these players are 2800. Santiago's 27 and Samant's is 29. Okay, knight d4 is found. Gets the double exclam. And the best move is to not even take. It says queen d3. Ooh, I like queen d3. Checkmate. Yes, please. Oh my lordy. Now it's black for choice. No, the bishop can't take because it was pinned, Zug. Hello, Messinas. What's up, Zug? Okay. King says, alright, I need some space to breathe. Okay, Santiago, I guess the knight move wasn't so good. But let's check in on the other games. Okay, Cantor already... I mean, this wasn't even close, man. Cantor played 8 games today, only 1 draw. He went 7.5 out of 8. And, I mean, the match is already over. Pawn push. White says free queen. Or free pawn. Black says free rook. Thank you very much. If you go here, threatening mate, pawn push. You can save the exchange, I guess, but Jose had enough. So 4 points for Cantor and GG's. That's all she wrote. Dallas wins. Let's check in on the other games. So Yair Parkov with the white pieces. Getting some trades here. Lots of tension in the center. And now, boom, knight sack, double exclam. Yair says, give me that. I'll take your pawns. Jacob Fuss, international master. If takes back, queen takes. And I guess the house is falling down. This rook, too powerful. Pawn takes, queen takes, rook, trying to offer some defense. What does it want? It wants bishop e4. That's a brutal move. Bishop e4. Pawn takes first and foremost. So if bishop e4, there's knight. I mean, come on. It's just over. It's over. Okay, there are 2 other games. Santiago, he's gonna flag. Yeah, he's gonna resign. Or he flagged. Yeah, he sacked the knight, but black just had a lot. Pawn push, and his king is going by the wayside here. I don't really understand, like, okay. If king to a2, oh, there's queen takes, yeah. And if king down, there's check and mate. So king b1, there's still bishop takes, yeah. Okay, so Samant wins. And there's 2 games left. So, yeah, the sweep didn't end in round 3. Dallas said, we ain't done yet. So Cantor wins it, and Aditya adds on. These extra points matter, by the way, because of tie breaks. Here we see the queen's given up for the rook, and that pawn is creating a new queen. So we see Yair Parkov getting another point. And the last game, Ekin won. So Ekin stops the bleeding. Instead of getting back-to-back sweeps in rounds 3 and 4, UTRGV gets a singular point from Ekin Oznir, their board 4. And yeah, that concludes the match. So well done to UT Dallas. They had 2 big games today, and they get 2 big wins. First off, against the defending champions, St. Louis University, and second off against their in-state rivals UTRGV, who had a tough day today, losing both matches. The first match in double overtime against SRM IST, which is even worse considering they didn't lose the game. They lost by a forfeit game. And then they lost by a brutal 10.5 to 5.5, almost double swept in rounds 3 and 4. Let's see if one of the Dallas players would like to join us for an interview. They do not. They're tired, and I don't blame them. So they said no interview for us. We're gonna let the chess speak for itself. And honestly, they did really well today. So congrats to Dallas. Back-to-back dubs. It's late. They're tired. They didn't have any players swap out, so it's just the four of them. And yeah, I mean, man, did they get the job done, especially with their top board. Cantor didn't lose a single game, 7.5 out of 8, and back-to-back wins. So congrats again to UT Dallas. Thanks all for being here. We're going to send you all off on a raid, so feel free to stick around. But otherwise, I had a lot of fun. Hope you guys did too. We will be back next weekend. So we are going to be live every Saturday for the next 2 months, basically, at 2 p.m. Eastern. So tune in next week, see who's going to be competing. And I appreciate you all being here. So take care. Have a good rest of your Saturday and weekend. And I'll be tuning in tomorrow morning for USA versus Canada Olympic gold medal game on the line. Bright and early for me. It's 7 a.m. But if I was back in LA, it'd be like 5 a.m. So it could always be worse. Anyways, let's see who's live right now. Okay. I see we can read a couple people. All right, I'm gonna raid Matt Henningsen. Oh wait, he joined. Okay, no, we'll do an interview. We'll do a player interview. Very cool. Very cool. All right, I'll be right back. Give me 1 second, guys. Hello and welcome back, everyone. We do indeed have a player interview. I'm joined by the one and only Cantor. I've been told actually that you don't pronounce the L in your name. Is that right?
I mean, it's Gergely in my individual name. Technically, that's the L and the Y pronounced as a Y in Hungary. but I
Okay.
almost got used to like Gergely at this point. Like I'm not trying to explain it to the Americans how to pronounce my name. It's just too much headache
Okay.
all the
Yeah,
time.
we had one of our users in the chat telling me, "Don't pronounce the L. It's gay." All right,
Yeah.
sounds good. So you had a very impressive match, two matches today. You didn't lose a
Yeah.
single game out of eight. You went 7.5 out of eight. Tell us about how you're feeling right now.
Well, obviously pretty good. Like I've not been playing too well in the last couple of months or weeks. I haven't, but today was maybe like a breakout day. Finally, I can get back my confidence. Like I was lucky in some of the games, especially the third game today, when I played uh kind of sketchy opening and just made weird moves. And I could have punished at some point. In the end, it was some crazy mess, mutual time trouble, and he just lost on time. Other than that, most of my games were pretty clean and pretty good. So I generally outcalculated my opponents in most of the games, which is very good. Team also won both matches. Second match we won very convincingly. The first match we won pretty much because of me, I think. Like it was like 7.5. So like every round I won, and then I saw that okay, round the result is like very close to equal or something. I was like, okay, come on, guys, do something. I can't be the only one who's doing all the hard work. But in the end, we won both of the matches, so that's good.
Yeah, that first match against St. Louis University, walk us through that a little bit more. You guys played them in the finals. That was the last match you guys ever played, and it's the first match of this season. Did you have some of that in the back of your mind going into that?
Honestly, not really. Like so much happened since then. I just new season, new year. We just played. I think I didn't have too much feelings about the whole match and everything. But obviously, happy to win. Like I played some of the same guys. Maybe I don't know. I beat Gashik in a very nice game. I think in the first match. That game I'm very proud of. So that was a really good game. I think I made some very nice rook maneuvers. Somehow my rook ended up from f1 to h4 via rook a1, rook a6, rook h6. Some crazy adventure. Uh, Two of my other victories were kind of very complicated games. I was better at some point, but worse at some cases. The last game against Chopra was a cool draw. Yeah, I mean, first game I blundered at some point, but my opponent also blundered. We both didn't see when the knight could have come back from d4 to e2 after bishop a6. Somehow I expected d3 to happen, and he also played d3. He could have just played knight e2, and then I would have been in trouble. But after d3 was a very complicated position. I had like a rook and many pawns against two knights, but my king was kind of weak. But in the end, I was able to like, yeah, he made some blunders, more blunders than I did. And my game against Goshik was really good. And the third game against the India, I don't know who's, but yeah, so in the third game, I was pushing for the whole game, but at some point I missed some bishop takes g4 tactics. Like after I made my move, I immediately realized that I blundered bishop takes g4 because hg4 there's queen h4. But luckily he didn't see, and then I was able to win in some rook end game where I feel like I've made some mistakes in again time trouble, but in the end I converted it. Last game against Chopra was kind of a smooth draw. Like I think, yeah, like I was that was the most I could get out of that game, so I was happy with that. And in the second match, yeah, I feel like my first two victories were pretty decent games. I genuinely just outplayed my opponents. Last game also, but in the third round, yeah, that was a crazy game, and I could have got lost obviously that one. Like I was lost at some
Uh,
points on my
I
endings.
I didn't even watch any of the early games that entire round. I was so locked in on your game, and I was absolutely mind blown by that end sequence. Rook takes b2, and then rook a2 check, king back to
Actually, at queen
b1.
c2 mate, right after I first went to rook a2 king b1, queen c2 was made because queen c2
Yes,
rook a1.
yes,
And
he
then I
had
played king c1. And after king c1, he still had some moves like rook c2 and queen c2, queen e1. Pretty much everything was working for black at least to get a perfect show, right? But I think he just couldn't think of anything. The position was so crazy that he couldn't think of any move within like a few seconds and just lost on time. But yeah, that was kind of
yeah.
asking. Honestly, I usually don't do this, but like it was like I was already like two out of two, and the team was like losing, and I got just so tilted that after before my third game, that what is going on? Why are we losing? Like 4.5, 3.5 after I won two games. So I just made some played some crazy game like an idiot or something. But then somehow the round we won 4-0, 4-0, I think. So in the end, it was all good.
Yeah, your third round today, you guys went 7-1 with no losses. So your third round team, I guess, very strong third round performance. And then the fourth round, you guys almost swept again. Um, but yeah, I want to talk a bit about that SLU third round. You guys did really well to get the lead, but you were also 1.5 points away from winning that match. At that point, you had 7 points going into round four, and you finished your game with Aryan Chopra with a relatively easy draw, as you had said. Um, but then your teammates, like you were saying, you were maybe a little worried. You guys didn't get any wins in that round. You guys just drew your way to victory. Were you concerned at all that we might see overtime?
I mean, I didn't even follow. I just finished my game and didn't even check the other game. I'm just waiting for the results.
Got it.
Personally, against Chopra, right, I think he's a very good, strong positional player. I played with him many times, always played black against him, even in Blitz, even in Classical. So usually I'm just happy when I draw with him. So I really didn't think about anything else. I just, out of that game, I had nothing else to play for. As for the others, what are they doing? Well, it's on them. Like, I can't
Yeah.
influence that. But I
Uh,
saw that after that, Yair just like he was totally winning, and he just forget about this three times repetition of perpetual. Like he didn't want to draw obviously, but he just
yeah.
forgot about the three times repetition. Like he was totally winning in that game.
And your game against Santiago, did you see
Last
Queen
round, okay.
C2? Did you see
Sorry,
the?
no, I didn't see anything. I just realized that King C2, King C1 is just like King stands better there, and I felt like I was kind of playing for a win, right? Because King C1, I'm like, okay, what are you gonna do after King C1, right? The whole position is insane, but like Rook C2, I think is the only move that draws or something. I was just wanted to like push it, but like
Yeah, there's
that's it. I
also
don't really see anything in the end.
there's also Rook B1.
Rook B1 and King takes B1,
Queen
and then
D1.
King B1. Oh yeah, and King B2. There's Queen D2 probably, and King A2. There's Queen E2 or something. I don't even know. But okay, the other move was kind of, I think it was a very forced draw. Like Rook C2, I think was a very, very forced draw. Obviously, if he had like 10 seconds or 15 seconds, he would have found something. But the position was so insane, and we were like both living of the 2 seconds we had. Yeah, I'm trying to check now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rook to C2 was a draw. Um,
Oh yeah, because King D1 and I have to go King A2 because King B2 there is Queen D2, which is insane. And King A2 there is Queen D5 and he can take on F7. But obviously Rook C2 is just an easier move. You
but
know?
yeah, like the move before that though, before he plays Rook B2, like you had the Queen C2 mate is just such a really beautiful idea.
Yeah. But to
So
be fair, after Rook B5 I could have played Rook takes G7, which I saw that it's a move. I saw that I can take on this when Queen C3 and I'm fine. I just whatever. Basically the whole game I was just
yeah,
asking for trouble. Like I don't even know. Like all the moves I made, I was just asking for trouble. But I wasn't punished in the end.
yeah,
And
but
even the
he
opening with
flagged.
this whole H4 idea was just I wasn't even I didn't even know what I was doing with that. Like it was just so bad. But I mean, other than that, I played pretty decent openings. That was the only game where I went crazy. I really enjoyed my game against Jakub. Like it was just a crushing victory,
Oh yeah.
like totally crushing. And uh and yeah, my game against as Ozanir was also just a very good technique. Like I just played a
Hmm.
smooth game. So overall, like even the last match, like three of my games were very clean victories, like very good games without any mistakes. Only this game was that where I was like lucky and it was just a crazy mess.
Yeah, and I guess my last question for you today, obviously your match versus UHRGV was because of your reschedule from first round of this league, but it's because you guys played, was it over the board in Texas last weekend?
I didn't play. Some of the members from UT actually played. None of us actually from UT. They are like none of us from this team played in Southwest.
Oh,
No, I
okay.
didn't play because I'm gonna play St. Louis Masters soon. Like I'm actually leaving on Tuesday, I think. which is very good tournament with very strong players. Even Fabiano will play there, so
Very
it's gonna be very
cool.
strong. Yeah.
Awesome. So are you guys gonna play next weekend in CCL, or do you think you'll reschedule?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I won't play. As for whether we're rescheduling
Got
or
it.
others, I don't know. I mean, I played a double run tournament at that time, so
All good. Well, thank you for your time. I know it's been a long day, back-to-back matches plus the interview. So good luck in your tournament next weekend in St. Louis. Maybe we'll meet up because that's where I live. I don't I don't know if I'll be playing, but yeah, best of luck and safe
sure,
travels.
sure, sure. Thank you. I'll do my best.
Awesome. All right. Well, that was Greg Cantor, and we'll say farewell to him and best of luck in the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a very fun match, very fun weekend. That was a great performance from Grandmaster Greg Cantor, top board from UT Dallas. We watched him go 7.5 out of 8. Not a single loss today. As he said, feels good, brings back the confidence, and he's going to need it going to St. Louis this following week, playing in the St. Louis Masters. So that'll be exciting for him to get some more over the board experience against some top level talent. But that's it for this stream. That's it for this weekend. I will see you all next weekend. I'll be back at the same time. But for now, we'll send you all off on a raid. So thanks everyone for being here and for watching. And stick around for the raid. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all next time.